What if your job could be something more? More than just the 9 to 5 grind. Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're talking about halal income, and it's this incredible framework that really transforms your work into something deeply meaningful, a core part of your spiritual and ethical journey. So let's get into it.
Just let that sink in for a moment. What if your hard-earned income, instead of bringing blessings, created barriers in your spiritual journey? Wow. That question right there, it flips the whole script on how we think about money, doesn't it? It suggests that how we earn our living is every bit as important as how much we make. It's all about making sure your work brings you peace, not, this inner conflict with what you believe.
So what is halal income, really? A lot of people think it's just a big list of don'ts, right? But it's so much more than that. Think of it as a blueprint for your entire professional life. It's built on these amazing positive principles: being fair, acting with integrity, and actually making a real positive contribution to the world around you. Seriously, it's about creating this positive ripple effect with every single penny you earn.
All right, so here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look at the main goal, which is all about blessed earnings. Then, we're going to break down the 3 huge pillars that hold it all up: integrity and fairness, avoiding harm, and finally, community and contribution. Ready?
Okay, Section 1, the goal. And it's a big one: blessed earnings. This is about moving way beyond just the bare minimum. See, in this way of thinking, your job isn't just about paying the bills. It's a deeply ethical, even spiritual act. The whole point is to achieve what's called blessed earnings, money that isn't just okay to have, but is actively a source of good in your life and the world.
And right at the core of that idea is this beautiful concept called Ihsan. It basically means excellence. This is the engine that drives blessed earnings. It's the principle of always going above and beyond. So imagine this. Your client needs a project in a week. You get it done in 5 days. That's not just great customer service, that's Ihsan in action. It's about building that deep trust and showing you're committed way beyond just the words on a contract.
Which leads us perfectly into our first pillar: integrity and fairness. This is where all those high-level ideas get real. We're talking about building trust in every single thing you do. Think of this as the rule book, the code of conduct for how you show up in your work every single day. So let's break down what an ethical transaction actually looks like, from start to finish. Step 1, it all starts with truthful marketing. No hype, just the real value. Step 2, you lock it in with clear agreements. Everybody knows exactly what's what. No hidden clauses. Step 3, you treat everyone fairly. Your customers, your team, everyone. And finally, Step 4, you knock it out of the park by exceeding expectations. And there it is again, right? We're back to that core idea of Ihsan.
And really, it boils down to this. There are 2 very different paths. On the one hand, you've got ethical conduct. That's all about being transparent, being accountable, and making sure there's justice for everyone involved. But on the other path, you've got things like bribery, known as rishwa, deception, and exploitation. Bribery is a huge one. It's forbidden because it completely destroys any sense of fairness. It creates a world where corruption wins, not talent or hard work.
Okay, so this all sounds great, but how do you actually make it happen in the real world? Well, it really comes down to building good, solid habits. Stuff like keeping crystal clear documentation for everything you do. That's not just for your accountant, it's proof of your integrity. It's about regularly checking in on your own business ethics, making sure you're up to date with local laws, and hey, not being afraid to ask for guidance when you hit a tricky spot. These are the practical steps that build that rock-solid foundation of trust.
All right, let's move on to our second pillar, avoiding harm. This is all about protecting yourself and society. So, if that first pillar was about all the positive things you should be doing, this one is about the things you absolutely have to steer clear of. It's based on this core idea that some businesses and practices are just, they're harmful, and avoiding them is a fundamental part of earning ethically.
So what are we talking about here? Well, some of these are probably familiar, things like alcohol and pork. But a lot of it is about finance. We're talking about avoiding interest-based finance, also known as riba, and steering clear of gambling, which is maisir, and super risky speculative deals called gurar. These rules are really there to protect people and the economy from exploitation. And then, of course, you've got the obvious ones, like smuggling or tax evasion, things that break the law and your duty to society.
Let's zoom in on riba, or interest, for a second, because it's a really big one. The key thing to understand is that it refers to any fixed, guaranteed return on a loan. It doesn't matter if the borrower's business succeeds or fails, they still owe that fixed interest.
And the why behind its prohibition is all about fairness. It can trap people in endless cycles of debt and let money grow from money without any real productive work being done. In fact, this single principle is the driving force behind the entire modern Islamic finance industry, which uses things like profit sharing instead.
And it's a similar story with Maisir and Gharar, basically gambling and deals with way too much uncertainty. Now, this doesn't mean all business risk is bad. Not at all. It's specifically about avoiding transactions that are just a roll of the dice. You know, where one person's gain is another's loss, and no real value is actually created. The focus is always on ventures that generate genuine economic value through skill, effort, and creating something new.
And that brings us to our third and final pillar, which is all about community and contribution. This is where everything really comes together, and you see how holistic this approach is. See, it's not just about earning your money in a good way. It's also about what you do with that wealth. There's a real responsibility to use it to make society better.
A huge part of this is something called zakat. It's an annual donation, typically 2.5% of your savings, that goes to support those in need. But it's seen as so much more than just charity. It's a way to purify your own wealth, to stop it from just sitting there, and to keep resources flowing through the community to help people who really need it. It's kind of like a built-in social safety net.
But your responsibility doesn't stop there. There's actually a kind of pecking order of financial duties. First and foremost, you've got to support your family. After that, it's about paying your employees fairly and, this is a big one, on time. Then come your obligations to the state, paying your taxes. And after all that, you have broader charity. And something really interesting, ethical consumerism.
And that last one, ethical consumerism, is so important because it brings everything full circle. It means being ethical with your money isn't just about how you make it, it's also about how you spend it. When you actively choose to buy from businesses that do the right thing, the ones that are into fair trade, that treat their workers well, that care about the planet, you're actually voting with your wallet. You're using your financial power to push for the kind of world you want to see.
So when you put all this together, you can see that earning halal income isn't just about following a list of rules. It's a whole philosophy. It's about weaving your ethics, your faith, and your social responsibility into one single, purposeful journey. It turns every business deal, every project, every single day at work into a chance to do something good.
And that really leaves us with one final thought to chew on. This isn't about quitting your job tomorrow. It's about looking at the work you already do, but through this new lens. So the question for you is, how can your work, whatever it is you do, become a source of blessings and real, positive change in the world?